In example 3, we want to find an equation of the hyperbola which has a foci of -1 minus the square root of 20, comma 4, and -1 plus the square root of 20, comma 4, and asymptotes at y equals 2x plus 6 and y equals -2x plus 2. The first thing we have to do is figure out, do we have an equation with the x first or an equation with the y first? So if we look at our foci, our second number is the one that's staying the same. So let's take a look at our equations to decide which equation we're dealing with. So if I look at my foci in this first equation, the second one, that k value, is the one that's staying the same, and in this equation it is not, it is the one changing. So since I want it where the k value is staying the same, we're going to go ahead and use this first equation. So let's write that down so we remember. So we know that we're using x minus h squared over a squared minus y minus k squared over b squared equal to 1. Then we need to find our h, our k, our a squareds, and our b squared. So if we take a look at our equation for our foci, so let's go back up one more time just to refresh your memory. The foci has h plus c, comma k, and h minus c, comma k. So if we go back up here, this is h minus c, comma k, and then h plus c, comma k. So let's label those. This is our h, this is our c, and this is our k. Again, h, c, and k. So we can write that down. We know h is equal to -1. We know k is equal to 4. And we know c is equal to the square root of 20. The next thing we can use is our asymptotes. So if we go back up and look at our equations one more time at the top, the asymptotes in our graph tell us that our slope is plus or minus b over a. That's the part we want to use. We want to know that slope. So the slope is plus or minus b over a, whereas over here in this equation it's a over b. So the slope switches, it's the reciprocal depending on which equation you're using. For ours, we want to know or remember that it's plus or minus b over a. So if we go back to our problem, we know that the slope is equal to plus or minus b over a. And in our case, we have the slope is the number in front of our x. If you go back to Algebra 1 and remember y equals mx plus b, so we know our slope here is 2 and our slope here is -2. So we know that our b over a is equal to plus or minus 2. Now, with that in mind, if we remember, we have c. So with our c value, we can say that a squared plus b squared is equal to our c squared. If we square the square root of 20, we get 20. And then since I know a and b are going to be positive, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at this as b over a is equal to 2 for now. If that's the case, I can solve for b by multiplying both sides by a. And I know that b is equal to 2a. That's the relationship between our b and our a. And I can use that relationship, that b is equal to 2a, and plug it into this formula here to solve for a. I'm going to replace this b here with what b is equal to, which is 2a. And I'll be solving the following. I have a squared plus 2a squared equal to 20. And again, I got there because I know b is related to a in terms of b is 2a. I replaced that 2a for the b that I had in my relationship between a, b, and c. If I solve this, I get a squared plus 4a squared equal to 20. Then I can combine my a squareds together to get 5a squared equal to 20. Divide both sides by 5. We get a squared equal to 4. Then the next thing I need to do is I need to find b squared, so I can use that in order to find b squared. So again, using that same relationship that a squared plus b squared is 20. Now I know what a squared is. I'm going to plug that in here. And I get 4 plus b squared is equal to 20. So subtracting 4 from both sides, I get b squared is equal to 16. And now I can go ahead and write my final answer. So I get my answer to be x minus the h value, and h we found was -1. So minus a -1 makes this a positive, and that's squared, over a squared, which we found to be 4, minus y minus our k value, which was 4. That's squared, over b squared, which we found to be 16, and that's equal to 1. Next, I'd like you to do the try this, so you can pause it now, unpause it when you're ready to check your answers. If you did the try this correctly, you should get an answer of y plus 4 squared over 16 minus x minus 3 squared over 25 equal to 1. If you have any questions, please let me know.